is this one?
That is the cactus flower exfoliant. That's a body scrub.
Takes off the outer layers of your skin.
Yes,
that can like take your scales off, Kevin.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Sandra walked into the tank looking for $300,000 for 5% of her Mexican botanicals for bath and body with Nopal, aka cactus, as the star ingredient. Before I even go into talking about the product, I should do a little tiny side note. She told us she used to be in a Latin alternative band before she ended up going to formulation school and starting this, and I just think that's awesome. Anyway, so here's a collection of some of the products. They have soap, lotion bars, exfoliant, all with cactus as the main ingredient. This is her Shark Tank bundle that she's currently selling on her website, and this bundle is on sale at the moment for $130, but it's usually priced at $166. The individual soaps are $14, the lotion bars are $30, and the exfoliant is $32. I don't think at any point they talked about the price to make it. I don't know if I missed it. I couldn't find it in my notes. I didn't see it when I was filming the clips for this, so sorry if I missed it, but that's how much it costs. Year to date, they're at $335,000. She says they're projected to do $1 million, and they're about 50-50 for direct to customer and in retail. They're in places like Nordstrom, Free People, Credo Beauty, and 350 boutiques. And on top of all that, she had a meeting coming up with 2 of the top beauty retailers when she came into the tank. So Kevin asks her if they're going to be profitable. She says they should be profitable at the end of the year, but Kevin wants to know more specifics.
What do you think you'll make in profit then?
That's a great question. I would have to look at the forecast again, but...
Well, you should know that number.
Yes, I should.
What is it?
What the cash profit is?
Yeah, I mean, you're in the Shark Tank. You better know your numbers.
Yes, I know a lot of different numbers. Yes. Well, we're really strong in Q4. So when holiday season comes, also Hispanic Heritage Month is coming. This is where we're going to make, hit our revenue goals, is at the end of the year.
Damon feels like he'd have to ask for too much of the business and it would take away from her mission, so for those reasons, he goes out. Lori says her famous line of, "It's a good business for you, but not investable for me," so she goes out. Mark thinks what she's doing is great, but the valuation compared to what he could add is too high, so he goes out. Daniel Levitsky, founder of Kind Bar, is our guest shark, and he tells this whole story about when he was younger. He tried to have his own Dead Sea mineral soap business, and pretty much it went very badly. So he says he has a personal trauma with this category, and for those reasons he goes out.
Sandra, there's nobody in except me, all right?
Oh, Kevin.
Now,
How did it get to this point?
Kevin is impressed with her, but says she's not worth the $6 million valuation she presented, so he offers $300,000 for 30% of the business.
If you're going to consider offers like that, then I'm going to make you an offer.
Daniel ends up offering her $300,000 for 25%. She says she cannot go that high, so Kevin asks her to counter them.
It's 10% for $600,000.
Wow.
This is...
I'm sorry, you said 10% for $600,000?
Yes, it's the $300,000.
That is the same exact thing you came in with. You
That's
just
right.
As you can see, this made Damon's head explode a little bit, but Daniel says he sees where she's coming from wanting to value her company higher because she can see the potential of where it's going.
I'm not questioning whether she has merit or not, but here's how the show goes. You come in, there's a number, and you're willing to negotiate. What she just basically said is, there's no negotiation.
In the end, she says she can hear her ancestors telling her not to undervalue herself, so she ends up leaving without a deal.
No wiggle room's crazy. That's a first.
You negotiate. The show is based on negotiation.
Final thoughts. I hate to pull a Lori, but it does seem like a great business for her, and I think she'll do well without having gotten an investment. But I do agree with the sharks. When you come into the tank, you have to have some amount of percentage wiggle room. You can't come in with a hard number. It will just never go well. That's not how negotiations work. I do love, though, that this bundle she has on her website is called Stand in Our Worth Shark Tank Bundle. I think that's fantastic marketing. Let me know what y'all think, and I'll see you in the next one.
How much do you owe in debt?
$1 million.
No.
Nutr, I hardly know her. Okay, we can move on now. Husband and wife, Alicia and Dane, walked into the tank looking for $500,000 for 5% of their at-home plant-based milk maker.
What, the French toast?
So here's the actual machine. It costs them $42 to make, and they sell it for $169. And pretty much how it works is they say it's part blender and part kettle, and that's how it makes all the different nut and seed milks. On top of that, they were selling blend packages that made the milk different flavors that was subscription-based, like everything nowadays. It was either bi-weekly for $45 or monthly for $75.
What?
Per month. Wait.
Per month.
When I tried to look into the blends on their website, it seems like they're not doing them anymore. I couldn't find a single trace of it. I don't know if it was the shark's reaction to the price, or maybe they just weren't selling well. The world may never know. Last year, though, their sales were $793,000. Year to date, they were at $2 million, and they said they were on track for $6 million. Then we get into the confusing cluster that was them going over their numbers. It starts out with Mark asking if they did a Kickstarter. They say no. Damon asks if they've raised any money at all. They say no, they bootstrapped it all and put in about $500,000. Then Kevin and Daniel ask if they have debt or any outside investors. They respond saying they have a creative financing option and did a crowdfunding platform.
You guys said you bootstrapped it.
And then you said
But
you didn't
no,
do any
that's actually a
crowdfunding.
financing option.
They then explain that this crowdfunding is not actual crowdfunding in the traditional way. It's more of a financing option. It's a platform called Kick Further, and it's different from Kickstarter and Indiegogo because they only finance your inventory. I looked into it, and they're right. It is just like a financing option, so I don't even know why they brought the word crowdfunding into it because really it's just a financing service. Then we find out, as we saw in the first clip, that they have $1 million in debt. So Daniel asks again if they have any outside investors. They say no, but then immediately follow up with that they have soft-circled about $250,000 from angel investors.
You can't be both. You can't have $250,000 from angel investors and say you bootstrapped.
Yeah, you said you bootstrapped. You said you didn't
Right, we
have any
still own
debt.
100% of the company.
That's because it's convertible note.
It's convertible, though.
So yeah, pretty much these people are just all over the place. Lori thinks it's going to be one of those things that people love and then never end up using, so she goes out. Back in season 12, Mark invested in a company called New Milk, which is pretty much the exact same thing, so for those reasons, he has to go out. And Kevin just thinks their valuation is completely ridiculous, and he also goes out.
How's that 5% thing working out right now?
Yeah, you got Daniel left in.
I'm still talking now, but I'm talking. Here's what I think. You're trying to charge us in what it will be in the future today. And the future is your opinion. You can make up your own opinion, but you cannot make up your own facts. We have to look at the numbers today. You're good people, great product. I'm out.
So yeah, Damon's out, but we still have the king of nuts himself, our guest shark Daniel, who agrees that they came in with way too high of an ask, but if they want to make him an offer, he'll entertain it, but it'll either be a yes or no answer. He is not doing any countering.
We'd be interested in $500,000 for 7.5% plus 2% advisory share.
No, I'm glad that I asked it this way because I would have offended you with what I had in my mind.
What do you have in mind?
I think I'm out, but prove us wrong.
So unfortunately, the pair leave without a deal. Final thoughts, obviously I had to compare this to New Milk. To start, the New Milk machine is $249, and also you have to buy their little pouches to make milk. You can't just put fresh nuts in them. So I think overall this is probably a better product. I think Mark even said he liked this a little better than the New Milk machine, but I was a little confused because of the way he worded it. I'm also with Lori that I feel like this is one of those things that I'd be like super excited about and then never use. Although I will say I have made my own oat milk a total of one time, and it did taste a whole lot better than the store-bought stuff. So I do think it's really interesting, but overall, the most important thing I agree with is that they should have come in with a better ask. I feel like this whole season, people have been coming in with ridiculous valuations, and honestly, I'm getting kind of tired of it. But let me know what y'all think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.
Grassroots is here with healthy snacks made from that sacha in tree seed. Grassroots got what you need.
Aaron danced into the tank looking for $400,000 for 7% of his Sacha Inchi seed-based snack business. Here are some of their products. They do a puff, they do butter, and then they do the just general roasted seeds in different flavors.
I like the truffle one. It's very truffly.
It's free of all the top allergens like peanuts, tree nuts, dairy, all that sort of stuff. It also has 50% more protein than an almond, and it has omega-3s, which almonds almost have none of. We didn't go over the numbers for all the different products, but for the lightly salted bag, it costs him about $4.50 to $5 to make, and he sells it for $17.99. which all the sharks thought was super expensive, but he says it's actually cheaper than the same amount of organic almonds, which goes for about $19.99 a pound. Although, on his website, it seems like these are now $19.99, so the point's kind of moot. Last year, they did $500,000, and this year they expect $1.5 million by the end of the year. Now, I feel like most of y'all can probably guess this by now, but no, they are not profitable. He says they're able to cover their overhead from gross margins, but are burning about $20,000 to $30,000 every month, and they currently have $100,000 left in the bank.
So you're in a tough place here. You're going to burn out in 90 days.
Now let's get into the backstory. His dad got diagnosed with heart disease, and because of that, he started to really get into nutrition, health, wellness, all of that. And before this company, he co-founded another business called Super Eats that was a kale chip in the form of a tortilla chip. But that business wasn't working out, so he came up with this idea to completely rebrand the business with the Sacha Inchi seed as the star. So he bought out his co-founder, but kept all of his original investors because he felt bad and wanted to get them that return on their original promised investment. We find out so far he's raised $1.7 million to date at a $5 million valuation.
You've got investors in at $5 million. You've got 90 days worth of cash left. How much pain are you willing to take? Because there's no way on earth I'm giving you a $5.7 million valuation.
Do we even know what you still own yourself out of the company?
So I own 33% of the company right now.
Ooh. Oh, so
That's
are
hard,
you willing
man.
to take pain?
He already is.
Yeah.
After finding out he only has 33% of the company left, Kevin decides he just can't invest and says rolling over the debt from the other company was a really bad idea. Damon agrees that with only 33% left, there just isn't enough room for an investment, so he also goes out. Lori thinks there's going to be a huge learning curve to teach people about the Sacha Inchi seed, and she doesn't think she can help out with that, so she's out. And Mark has a similar opinion. He thinks the education plus the small margins are just going to make this way too difficult, so he's out. Then we're down to just Daniel.
Ready to go?
You're the almond king.
Unfortunately, though, Daniel just doesn't see the deal as investable, so he's out and says the next 3 months are going to be very difficult, but at least it'll make him stronger. I'm sure that really gave him solace. I bet that really boosted the mood for him. Final thoughts. I don't really have much to say about the product itself since it's just kind of another snack. I mean, it is kind of expensive, but a lot of these health snacks are, so I mean, I'd be interested to try it though, especially the truffle ones that Lori called very truffly. But as far as the business stuff goes, I think it's very honorable of him that he chose to keep his investors from his old deal. But I hate saying this. I agree with Kevin. It's not smart as a business move. It's going to make it super hard in the future to get investors. He does seem like a really nice guy though. Something I didn't mention was that they do a lot of community work about health and nutrition as part of their company's mission. It works a lot with the youth in New Orleans, so I wish him all the best. Let me know what y'all think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.
Very good. I mean, they're almost fruit juicy with a little bit of carbonation.
This one, not so much.
Juan walked into the tank looking for $130,000 for 8% of his canned sparkling agua frescas. I can already feel somebody typing to make fun of my pronunciation. Go ahead, do it. But just remember, I'm just a little guy. I'm doing my best. I'm sorry. Here are the different flavors they have. They're all based off his homemade recipes from Guatemala. If you don't know what an agua fresca is, pretty much it's a popular drink in Mexico and other Latin American countries. It's made from blending fruits or vegetables or flowers or all of them with water and sugar. His son is actually the one who convinced him to start canning these. He has a different business. It's a hot sauce business called Green Belly Foods. It's distributed out through Colorado, and his son was like, you should can these homemade recipes as well, like dang. They started in 2021 with just shipping the Jamaica flavor, and now year to date, they're at $100,000 and projecting to do $350,000 by the end of the year.
For a company that's imputing a $1.6 million valuation with the sales that you had, you say, Chihuahua caramba.
Yeah.
Like the valuation is implying that you have $500,000 to $1 million in sales. So tell us how you value the company.
He's been accepted into some of the Kroger branded grocery stores like Ralph's, King Scoopers. They cost him 88 cents to make and they sell at wholesale for $2.10. He says he wants the companies to retail them for around $2.99, but a lot of the places have them as high as $4.50 a can. But if you buy a 6-pack from his website, it's $24.99, which comes out to about $4.17 a can, but shipping is free in the US. So then they get into talking about his competition, which is products like kombucha, sparkling water, and I just loved his answer to this.
What is a can of sparkling water?
Probably cheaper than our stuff, for sure. But it doesn't have the same flavor that people want.
This is a perfect example of how I wanted the cabinet health guys from earlier in the season to answer their question about pricing. But anyway, Damon doesn't think he has the knowledge to be able to help him out, so he's out. Kevin loves the cultural niche of the product and believes there'll be a good market for it, but feels like Juan hasn't worked out enough of the logistics yet, so he's out. But he has some encouraging words on his way out.
However, I'm going to give you credit. You're the first one ever that I even thought about. You're the best pitch I've ever heard for a beverage. And I've always called them all cockroaches, because they were. You're a cockroach too, but a really nice one.
Yeah.
Mark says he hates the beverage business, so he's out. Lori feels similarly, saying it's an extremely competitive and expensive space, so she's out. So once again, it's all down to our guest shark, Daniel.
Juan, you're mesmerizing. Like, I could listen to you for hours. You're so pleasant to listen to.
I'm free tonight. If people want to
Let's go.
He says he loves Juan's energy, but worries that sometimes entrepreneurs don't understand how hard the road ahead will be.
Like, even dealing with the shortage of aluminum during COVID, not a problem. Like, honestly, yeah, going to explain to gringos what Jamaica is, not a problem.
Daniel says if he can convince another shark to come in, he'll think about it, but all the other sharks have already said they're out. But just like a cockroach, Kevin rises again to say he'll come in if they do it at $130,000 for 30%.
That's the only way that happens. I like this guy. I do not have a beverage. At 14 years, I've never done a beverage deal because I hate this space. But I love this guy.
Juan says the highest he can go is 20%. Then Juan and Daniel have a moment where they negotiate in Spanish that brings us this awesome Lori moment.
You said $130,000 for 25%. That's correct, right? He said it in Spanish, but that's what he said. Did you accept that?
And they end up making a deal at $130,000 for 25%.
Vamos a trabajar.
Final thoughts. Y'all already know I love a fun drink, so I will be ordering this as soon as I can, but I did promise my partner I'd drink through some of my other fun drinks first, so it might take just a second. Overall, though, I just really love him, and while the drink business is a super tough space, I hope Daniel, with all his knowledge of the food industry, is able to really help him get this out there. Let me know what y'all think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.
¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? Lord, you gotta call my mom. You gotta call my dad, my sister. You gotta call my son. Whew.